Hi, I'm Rhys Kerrigan from Kambium, and this video will show you how to start writing recommendations for the Best Practice Review. So once you've answered all the questions in the Best Practice Review, you're ready to write recommendations. From the BPR outline screen, click on Create New in the IT Recommendations box. Or, if you're in the Questions screen, scroll to the top and click on the Write Recommendations button. Much like in the questions screen, the first thing the portal does is ask you if you want to filter the list of questions that it will show. I recommend choosing to only show the questions that have bad answers and to only show questions that haven't had a recommendation already written for them. And then click Apply. Again, like in the questions section, you can change these filters at any time by clicking on the Filter button at the top. So you'll see in the left-hand pane we have a list of all the questions based on the filter we chose. In this case, we only see the questions that we marked as bad and that don't already have a recommendation. In the right-hand pane, you can see any recommendations that we have already created for this review. To start with, I'm going to show you how to create a recommendation that provides a solution for one question. In future videos, I'll also show you how to create a recommendation that provides a solution for multiple questions and how to link an existing question to an existing recommendation. So in this case, I'm going to select one question and click on New Recommendation. So on the screen, we write the recommendation. In the right-hand pane, we have the text areas to capture information about the recommendation. Most of this information will appear in the report that will get generated at the end. In the left-hand pane, we have some suggested text that you can use as a starting point for the recommendation text. You'll see these little arrows beside the suggested text. If we click on these, it brings the suggested text across to our new recommendation. Note though, you can change this if you want to. So let's fill in the information for this recommendation regarding two-factor authentication. The recommendation needs the following text. It needs a title. It needs a business problem which explains why we are raising this recommendation. In this case, I'm just going to bring it across. Remember, you can drag the text fields to make them bigger by dragging the corner. The current situation is what the customer is currently doing regarding this question. By default, we bring across the answer text from the question, but you can change this if you need to. And finally, we enter the recommendation that will provide the solution to the problem outlined above. Again, we can change this if we want to. Next, we gather information about the recommendation, almost like metadata. Most of this information appears on the report. Some of it's going to be used in future versions of the Kambium portal to provide graphic summaries of the recommendations. First, we can change the category. Again, we suggest one based on the question, but you can change it to any category that you want. You need to choose a priority, and we break these down into must do, should do, and could do. Must do's are the things that we recommend you do right now. They're important. The should do's are also important, but can wait until after the must do's are done. And the could do's are nice to haves, or things that we think are relevant to the client but not critical. In this case, we'll make it must do. The priority, the must do's, the should do's, and the could do's form the headings in the report that get generated at the end, but we can preview those and change them in the next screen. You can choose a business benefit. Do we think this recommendation is just business as usual, keeping the lights on? Is it providing real value to the staff, or is it a bleeding edge recommendation? And next we enter some approximate costs and effort. Now these aren't intended to be accurate quotes, but more a way to help the client understand the size of the job. We also let you choose either cost or effort, or both, because we found that with some clients the cost of a job may be virtually nothing, especially if they have internal IT teams, but the effort for the job might still be very large. And finally, we add a time frame. When do we think this recommendation should occur? If you're unsure, I often choose the next 6 months for the must-dos, the following 6 months for the should-dos, maybe the year after that for the could-dos. So once we've filled out all the information for this recommendation, we click Save. You'll see that the two-factor authentication question has dropped off the list of questions. That's because of the filter I set to only show questions that didn't have a recommendation. And I can also see on the right-hand side my recommendation that I created here. So that's how you create a recommendation for one question. In next videos we'll be showing you how to create a recommendation to provide a solution for multiple questions.